Coach, we talked about the bullpen a little bit last night, and Carson kind of similar throughout the ballgame. Carson comes out and gets you out of some tough spots. Bullpen gets you out of tough spots all game long. And how did you assess how those guys came into this ballgame and got the job done?
Yeah, I mean, the message this weekend, was we had a great bullpen all fall. We felt like it was the strength of our team. We had a great bullpen the first 3 quarters of the way we played so far. You don't just overnight lose your bullpen. And there's good arms in there, there's good competitors, there's really good stuff. It was just a matter of going back out there and believing in it and competing. And, I thought Carson scraped through. The command, I think that was the big thing tonight. The command of the secondaries, the command of the fastball mainly. We felt like, we had enough guys to be able to make that move early. And then, it's just the trust of that group. So it hadn't wavered, for us, albeit, we haven't been as good lately.
If I can follow up,
Go ahead.
If I can follow up on that, we haven't seen a lot of these guys come back the day after. And Ben comes back, gives you 3 innings. Doc comes and gives you a couple of innings.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how did you feel like those guys handled turning around the second day and giving you some really good appearances?
Yeah, we feel like Ben is very vibrant. Ben bounces back really well. He's done twice on a weekend, quite often, maybe back-to-backs. But his feedback is always really good. Dotson probably was on fumes there a little bit late, but he's our toughest guy. He's got the best fastball, in my opinion, the best left-handed fastball in the league, and there's nobody that I trust out there, and it was his game at that point.
Steve?
We talk about situational hitting a lot, but there was some situational pitching situations that came up. Runners in scoring position with less than 2 outs, and you guys get the non-productive out to prevent the advancement there. Maybe kind of take us through the game plan there to kind of limit them from taking those extra bases.
Yeah, well, they're ultra aggressive, and we just felt like if we can mix enough and stay in good counts, I think we got ourselves in trouble today not getting good counts, but we just felt like just be able to manage through jams and manage through some traffic, and that was the key to the game was training the runners, and that was the message all week. We've been through a lot. It's a tough and resilient group. They're proving it, and that was what was called on today. Was just toughness in the moment with runners in scoring position, and we did a heck of a job with that.
Doug?
Coach, looking at the box scores, you make 1 error for the SEC series, so obviously defense is on the uptake. Bryce makes a great catch. Michael O'Brien makes a Sports Center catch. Where's this new and improved defense coming from?
Well, I mean, we made some highlight catches, no question. Bryce's and Mikey's there late. We can also tighten it up. I don't think the errors always showcase the defense. I mean, we got to tighten up some things as well. But it is nice to see, especially when we needed it. Guys stepped up and when we needed it, made big time plays.
James?
Yeah, it seemed a bit sluggish out of the gate. Given the doubleheader, which went into extra innings last night, what did it take to kind of get that energy back and able to establish that lead as the game went on?
Well, I think momentum is just about as good as the next day's starter, and their guy was coming in. He's been really good in league play. It's a left-hander. It's a big-time fastball. I know the velo is maybe sub-90, but it plays way up, and he did a nice job. He got to his glove side. He elevated the ball. I thought we grinded on him in the first. I thought we grinded him on in the third. We elevated his pitch count in those 2 innings. Would like to do a little bit more in the second, but I tip my cap to that guy. I think the sluggishness was more based on we're facing a really good SEC left-hander.
Sam?
What's just the injury status of Nolan Stevens right now? Could you possibly see Ross Highfield continue to start more in right field at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to assess all those things. The injury status on a couple guys is more day-to-day than having lost them for the season. So, this week will give us a good opportunity to get some guys healthy, recommit to the weight room a little bit, not having the Tuesday game, and we'll see what it looks like next weekend.
Hey, Dan?
When we talked to you on Tuesday, you talked about this Pico's bullpen day, and it's like you had taken the time to really get your arms around the whole team at that point. Now here we are a few days later, do you feel like at this point you've got a grasp of this whole thing as a manager?
Well, I have veterans, on the staff and everyday position players. So a lot of it runs itself. The entire coaching staff is certainly obviously involved. There's been very little changes, so it's not like this holistic change that everything is different. I have a really veteran staff with Pico, with Carson, and with Evan Sierra. Those guys are incredibly self-sufficient, very mature. I'm not spending any less time with them, but I also trust their preparation and their communication.
Ben?
It seemed like offensively, the slugging wasn't always there, but you got exactly what you needed to in those situations in the third and the sixth, whether it's a fly ball or just putting the ball in play. Situationally, what was going on there? They were just able to do their jobs when they had to.
Well, we've talked kind of all week about being multiple on offense, being versatile. I thought Tuesday night was about as complete of an offensive night as I've seen in a long time. It was hit by pitch, it was free bases, it was stolen bases, it was home runs, it was doubles, it was 2-strike fights. You never know what the game's going to demand of you, and the situation's going to demand of you. And I think as long as we can continue to fight to find ways. I mean, we had another base hit bunt tonight that was huge. We had another couple hit by pitches tonight that came up big in big spots. And it's just playing the entire game of baseball, not just looking to stand in there and slug doubles or hit 2 or 3 run homers. I know that's, I mean, you're looking at the guy that says the SEC is built on eliminating free bases and eliminating homers, and on the other side trying to hit homers and earn free bases. But between those things, there are a lot to be had in the game, and I think we're doing all those things in between.
Steve?
The decision to pull Carson, again, kind of what went into that?
Just command. I just felt like command. I felt like he grinded all 3 innings, the command of the fastball specifically. And there were moments where he really had the changeup working. There were moments where he had the slider working. They did a nice job. They stacked a bunch of lefties against him, and I just didn't feel like he commanded his fastball well enough in some of the misses. But he's a competitor. He's a warrior. I know we've seen starts where he's taken that same outing and gone 5 or 6 innings. We've also seen some where he doesn't get a whole lot of help. But to be able to go through with the stuff that he had and the command that he had and go 3 innings and give us a really strong start on Sunday and turn it over the bullpen, it could have very easily been 3 or 4 runs. I thought he did a nice job competing through it.
Take 2 more. Carlo?
Bryce had obviously a big part in the last 2 days in this series. What have you seen from him, not only in this weekend, but also all season long?
Well, just again, how many ways he impacts the game. It's base hit bunt, it's stolen base, it's taking away a hit, it's throwing a guy out at second, it's working a walk, it's driving in a run with 2 outs. It's just a guy that is poised right now and playing well, and he's impacting the entire game.
Robbie?
This week's kind of been a whirlwind, I know, for you. Everybody was thrown for a loop on this team. Nobody, wasn't affected. What did you learn about your team, and maybe did you feel like you unlocked something in yourself as a coach, kind of getting put in that position this week?
Yeah, I'll probably steer clear of answering that one. I just, we got such great respect for Coach Lamonis. I kind of know what you're getting at. But I think the big thing is, when you're coaching 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, for better or for worse, they're very impressionable, they're very impulsive. There's been a lot of times this year where we haven't played great, but as quick as you can turn it around, we're able to flip it and have a really good week here. It's not a completely different club. There's not a whole lot of different moves being made. We're fairly consistent as a staff, and I think it was just guys believing in themselves, getting a little bit of a wake-up call and responding to it.
And Coach just talked about, you're a guy that can kind of bounce back, be kind of vibrant. How do you feel throwing 2 days this weekend, and maybe how was today a little different yesterday?
Well, for sure today was a whole lot different than yesterday, just because I'm off no rest, and then yesterday I felt pretty good, didn't feel my best, and then today I for sure didn't feel my best. I was a little sore, a little banged up, but other than that I felt pretty good.
Ben?
Gatlin and Coach Parker was talking about how the SEC is built on free bases and slugging, but it seemed like you guys did well in certain situations when a fly ball was needed or just putting the ball in play was needed. So how would you describe that approach offensively? It seemed like it was effective here today.
I think everybody's just playing for the next guy. We're finding a way to win right now, and being aggressive or being passive or whatever the offense needs is it's a big deal of that. So,
James?
Yeah, I wonder, Ben, this is for either of you. Just how big is these last 4 games, 4-game win streak, now a sweep over an SEC team? How big is this to establish momentum going forward?
Yeah, it's big. We've got a lot of confidence now, and hopefully we can keep that going.
Robbie?
Ben, I know it's probably been a very difficult week and a strange week for y'all when you lose a coach that you love and respect, and a lot of changes for this team this week. How do you describe what you guys have been through and how y'all responded?
Really, we just stayed together. Don't let the distractions get to us, and then just keep your mind on the field, and then don't let anything else get to you.
Steve?
Yeah, it seems like middle infield, the chemistry appears to be improving game after game. How would you kind of assess how well you and Sawyer are kind of communicating out there?
We're communicating really well, and we're getting more comfortable each and every game. And it's been good.
Along those lines too, it seems like the double play turns are getting a little more natural for you over there with him. I mean, how long does it take to kind of get situated with a new shortstop?
Yeah, they are. They're getting a lot better, and just more games has been so much better, and we're building that chemistry with each other. So,
Sam.
Ben, just being a pitcher and having worked a little bit more with Justin Parker earlier in this season, but what is he just like as a coach, as you know, in helping you guys?
He's great, man. He tells you the truth. He's not gonna sugarcoat it at all. He's gonna give it to you the straight way, and then, I mean, he's gonna help you the best he can.
Take a few more, Doug.
Gatlin, today, one of the things y'all did was you got an early lead and you kept adding on it. And, you know, you just came off a streak where you scored first 9 times in a row and 10 out of 11.
Yeah.
Do you guys talk about that in the dugout when you get a lead? Do you talk about how you're going to try to expand it?
We do. We just, don't get comfortable, and like Parker says, keep the pedal down no matter what the score is, and we've been doing that. So,
Robbie.
Ben, I know you weren't in there for these situations, but the catches in center field from Bryce and Michael, what does a play like that do for a pitcher whenever you see a ball that you're not sure if it's going to get out or not, or hit off the wall, a player to kind of steal an out like that? Specifically those plays, what do you think of those, and what does that do for you as a pitcher when you see that?
I mean, that right there it'll boost your confidence a lot. I mean, it'll automatically get you back into the next hitter, and then you can just keep grooving.
We'll take 2 more, Ben.
And it's been like just being part of this bullpen that's throwing the ball really well right now. Guys like Stone and Nate and Ryan all throwing well yesterday, just sort of hopping on them and doing your job as well here.
It's awesome. Honestly, it's just we did it at the beginning of the year, and then we kind of got in a slump past couple weeks. But you can see that we're really good. So.